But work on the Parks Highway was put on hold. The road stopped abruptly just south of Mount McKinley. Homesteaders who had staked claims here were eager for the road to be finished. Most outspoken among them was Mary Cary, a schoolteacher who in 1962 retired to Alaska.
She had always wanted to come to Alaska for many years, so she decided to buy a small station wagon and drive herself up. Everybody thought she was crazy because the Alaska Highway in those days wasn't paved at all. It was all gravel, 2,500 miles of gravel. And so that's what she did. She drove up for the summer, and she had planned to stay over and get a teaching job if she liked it here. Well, of course, she loved it.
Mary Cary believed the Parks Highway would pass right by her door at the foot of Mount McKinley. As the years passed and the road still was not built, she took it up with Governor Egan.
Mary had declared war on the governor. She took out a full-page ad in every newspaper in Alaska. There were 3. And declaring war on the governor, who didn't have enough foresight to put in a much-needed highway. He said some crazy woman living 100 miles out in the bush wants a road to her place, and that's not going to happen. But Mother, it wasn't just that she wanted a road here, it was that she loved this area so, and she wanted people to be able to see it.
I remember very clearly, she was extremely active, and she knew how to work the press and the media to get maximum attention on that.
Oh, sure, yeah, everybody knew Mary Cary. I wouldn't call her cantankerous, but she was not a timid character, you know. Nobody down there was a timid character. Them people that homesteaded down along those stretches, they were pretty tough people.
They had already spent more money on building this highway than the state had originally cost when it was purchased from Russia. But still nobody could use the highway because there were just bits and pieces of it were finished. And so you couldn't go from Anchorage to Fairbanks, but you could just go to little spots in between.
The parks had to be built a little bit at a time because there was no money available to do it all at once. So every year a little bit more would get built, and so Mary would be moving in there to make sure that the limited highway monies that were available were spent on getting the parks finished.
By 1970, the Parks Highway had reached Mary Cary's home, but still was not complete. The last remaining hurdle was the 250-foot gorge at Hurricane Gulch, halfway between Anchorage and Fairbanks.
Working on the Hurricane Gulch Bridge was the first bridge I'd ever worked on. And I really didn't know a lot about bridge building at the time, and it was totally different from what you would expect today. Walking the steel on the Hurricane Bridge, there was no safety nets beneath it. And you look over the edge, if you dared to look over the edge, it was 250 feet to the nearest hard surface, so a long way down. It was often windy there, and we had to deal with that on a daily basis.
That was a real challenge because it's unstable on both sides. That's a 2-hinge arch bridge, so all the pressure from the arch goes into the rocks. We spent over a year stabilizing the rock. You know, I'm a paper shuffler now, and I gotta tell you, to do something physically and see what you've done, and it came out good, that's a hell of a lot better than trying to shuffle paper and you don't know in the evening what you've done. That makes you feel good.
In October 1971, after 15 years of construction, the Parks Highway was officially opened in a ribbon-cutting ceremony on the Hurricane Gulch Bridge.
Everybody was shocked when they finally got the bridges all finished. Up at Hurricane Gulch, when they had the grand opening ceremony for this highway, Governor Egan came and put his arm around her. He said, "Believe it or not, Mary, I'm just as proud of this highway as you are." Well, we didn't believe it at the time.